Welcome to Pherotone Studios. I've got a Boss Katana and it has a recording out as part of the headphone jack, and I'm going to try it out. Boss Katana, fantastic amp, absolutely love it. All the reviews say it's great. I tried it out in a music shop, went to Guitar, thought it was brilliant, so I bought one. I thought I'd try out the recording output on the back, so there's a headphone socket which also doubles as a recording out, which does that on a few amps like the Orange Micro Dark. A lot of amps have an emulated output, so my Black Star, that's got one. Just going to try it, see if it's usable. From experience, they're generally not as good as the actual amp, but it's a handy thing to have. Like my band does silent rehearsals, so electric drum kit, the bass is DI'd, and I play the guitar through an Orange Micro Dark using the headphone out, which is, what do they call it? Orange call it the cab sim, and that's what we listen to through headphones, and that's all the recordings of my band, The Pony Never Stops. That's all through the Orange Micro Dark cab sim, £150 amp. This is the Katana 100 watt combo. It's the Mark II, it's the 2x12. I think a lot of the bigger amps have the recording out. Yeah, let's try it. I've plugged my guitar into the amp input, very clever. Recording out's going straight into the desk, and we'll see if it works. Okay, to my ears that sounds fantastic. I'd say that's probably one of the best cab sims I've ever heard, or emulated outputs I've ever heard. This is on humbuckers though. I'm just going to try it on a single coil guitar. This is the Telecaster, it's only a Squier Bullet, but it's got quite low output single coils. That sounds amazing. The EQ is set completely flat. Reverb's on half and it's on the green flavour one. So there's nothing fantastic going on there, but that sounds great. I suppose it would do because it's a solid state amp and it's digital, so it's probably the same as what you hear through the speakers, but instead of it coming through those, it's going through the studio monitors. Just normally a cab sim or emulated output or recording out from an amp, they sound thin or just a bit terrible or like something's missing. This just sounds like the amp coming from a different place. Back on Les, I'm just going to see if the crunch channel is good or if it starts to fall to pieces. Sounds a little bit flappy on the low end, but that's completely usable. That sounds great. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I could play like that. I mean, I prefer a 2x12 just because it's more air being pushed towards you, but that sounds great. Right, next sound. This is the lead sound. Again, sounds a bit flappy on the low end, but completely usable. I mean, that sounds, if you're just spanking out it's just the lower stuff. I wonder if this be, I'll try a baritone guitar at the end and just see if it falls to pieces, but that sounds alright. Yeah, brown sound now, my favourite one. Yeah, that sounds great. It sounds the best on brown sound. Let's give it a go on the acoustic setting. Okay, I don't think that sounds anything like an acoustic. I don't know if I'm right, leave a comment if I'm not. I thought the acoustic setting made it sound like an acoustic. I had a micro cube and that always made my guitar sound a bit acousticy. That just sounds like a clean guitar. I'm going to try these settings on a baritone guitar, so give you an idea of what it's like on a 7-string. Barry, where are you? Sounds great. Going to try the crunch. Yeah, that sounds right. So, lead. Sounds great. Sounds a tiny bit thin, but I think that's just because it's through monitors and not through 2x12. So it sounds fantastic. Right, now brown sound. that sounds fantastic on pretty much any guitar. Even on the Baritone, so extended range guitars, that sounds great. It is a little bit low output, but the gain on the desk is only about a quarter of the way up for that channel, so there's miles of headroom, so I wouldn't worry about that. It does sound really good and full. Guitar never sounds quite as good through studio monitors as it does through a 2x12 cabinet in my mind. There's two 12-inch speakers blasting the sound at you. Just sounds fantastic. It's what you're used to. It's a load of air smacking you in the face. And when it's through studio monitors, they are generally a flat sound anyway because they're for monitoring. But also the cones are a lot smaller, so you don't quite get the impact. And that's quite interesting because we currently use the Orange Micro Dark. I do use the emulated output on the Blackstar HD20. And my plan was to get one of these. It's cheaper to buy a combo than it is to buy just the head. So I'm like, well, I'll take the head out and then I've got a 2x12 combo for using for other things. So I'm going to make this as a separate unit. Get one, leave one here and put one in the other studio so I don't have to carry anything. And then I've got a brilliant emulated output for the studio. You know, for our silent rehearsal, so it's going to sound great through headphones. But that's the plan anyway, whether or not it will happen. But that sounds amazing. If you, say for example, you want to record some guitar, you've got to buy a microphone, learn how to place it, mess around with the best sounding part of the cone, you've got all the buzz. You could just plug a lead straight into this, whack it in the desk, have no problems whatsoever, no phase problems if you're trying to do two microphones, no bleed problems, because it's not going to bleed. You don't have to have the speakers on, you could have it through headphones. So if there's all of you playing in a room and you've got a real drum kit, no sounds coming out of that cab, and if the speaker's in a different room and your guitarist is just playing through headphones, none of that bleed's going to hit the drum kit or the vocals. I mean, it's quite good for a live performance, to be honest. I'm seriously impressed with that. Really, really impressed. Hopefully it sounds as good in the recording when I listen back and check it out. But please leave some comments, let me know what you think. Let me know how good you think that sounds, because nothing's coming out of here. That is pure headphone output. And hopefully that's helpful to someone, because that's a great selling point for this cab. I mean, it does loads of stuff anyway. It's got millions of sounds. The delay in there's brilliant, the reverb's brilliant, and there's tons of different ones. I think it's got every Boss pedal loaded into it. You can get a pedal board, the GAFC, I don't know if it's Boss or Roland, same company, and you can assign anything to any of the switches. I think there's 6 switches. It's just so versatile, and you can use the power amp for another digital amp. Like you could plug a Kemper into it and use that as the power amp and the speakers for a Kemper, because a lot of Kempers don't have that, or a Line 6 Helix, anything like that. This amp is so versatile. It's the 100 watt, so it does the most out of the whole range, but this is about £400 or 350 quid. That's nothing. That is so cheap for an amp. I've paid so much more than that for an amp that doesn't even have reverb. This has got 3 types of reverb. It's even got different cab sounds, so how the actual wooden cabinet resonates. I know it's not real, but it's got a switch that you can go between like vintage, modern and something else. Nothing has that. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Yeah, leave some comments, let me know what you thought. The Boss Katana. You can see why people love it. It's brilliant. I mean, one of my favourite things about this amp is it can't sound bad. If it sounds bad, it's your guitar. And you plug in, I haven't even done anything on the EQ. EQ is always flat, just so anyone can get the sound as easily as possible. And it just sounds brilliant. You just plug in and go, well, that sounds great. Whack a bit of reverb on it. That sounds great. You should probably get one.